Okay, so take a moment and have some props handy for yourself. Could be helpful to have yoga blocks if you have them available. If you don't, then you can use a firm pillow or a extra rolled up yoga mat, rolled up blanket or towel. If you have anything that you can use as a strap, that also might be helpful for a couple of our shapes that we'll be going into. We will, this class today will be finishing up on the Pratyahara series, the how we are attaching to or adverse to our interactions with the external messages and information that comes in through our sense organs, and how we better adapt ourselves to those messages so that we can have the energy and the character and the presence that we want to show up for. And lastly, today's focus will be on that internal sixth sense, the intuition, sense of intuition. And so keeping that in mind as you move through how you can tap into that inner knowing and navigate the world without necessarily having to have the external validation or messages. All right, so that's probably enough time to get you settled into a position that is going to work for you for centering. It could be seated on your back in a chair, your belly, whatever works for you. Start to bring some stillness to the physical body. Notice the breath. Perhaps bringing the breath into the body through the nose, letting the exhales leave the body through the nose. That will help to warm and purify the air. And if it feels right for you, you can start to lengthen the inhales just a count or two longer. And then extend the exhales a count or two longer than the inhale. Notice how that feels. If it feels strained or uncomfortable in any way, then just resume a natural breath that is easeful in the body. If the extended exhalation is working for you, you can continue with that. And either way, notice if you are able to release an extra, just small amount of tension with each exhale. Notice how that impacts our mind. The shifted quality of the thoughts, or perhaps fewer thoughts or more clarity in the thoughts. And notice if that has shifted any of the tension in the physical body. Maybe just a bit of a release in any parts of the body. Notice if it's impacted the messages or the stories in your mind that are coming in, perhaps through your sense of smell or taste, what you're hearing, what you feel on your skin. There's different layers to all of our senses. We have an internal seeing. We can listen to our internal navigation. All of our sense organs also impact our intuition, and our intuition gets overridden. So quieting those external messages and listening, seeing, knowing the internal messages instead. It's a practice. Often it is not linear. It takes time and practice, and there's some progress, and then we need to try a different approach. So we'll move into that, another practice, another approach that can sometimes help. And that's that Shanmukhi Mudra again. Been doing through this series. So thumbs either in front of or plugging the ears, index fingers on the eyelids or eyebrows. Frame the lips with the ring and pinky fingers, and then the index or the middle fingers being right at the bridge of the nose. You're welcome to have the ears plugged, and on the exhale, bring in Brahmari breath with that humming of a bee sound, the bumblebee breath. Or you can just silently listen to 5 to 7 rounds, inhaling and exhaling. Your choice, and we'll begin now. Taking your time, finishing up the many rounds that you would like. As you're ready, when you're ready, releasing the hands, just gently wiggle the fingers as you lower them down to the legs. Take an inhale. Exhale to gently lower the chin to the chest. Blink the eyes open. The chin, the neck, the shoulders side to side. And I'd like to invite you as we move through the different shapes to use that inner knowing, the listening to the voices that are in you that tell you what's going to work best for your body, mind, energy, your spirit at this time. So if I am offering a shape that's not working for you for any reason, I'll offer the variations, but you feel free to hold shapes for however long you need to hold them and adjust as you need to adjust. And if it's a shape that's not working for you today, choose something that does. Absolutely your call. So for the first one today that I'll offer is Janu Shirshasana. So right leg is extended long, toes up towards the ceiling. Left knee is bent with the bottom of the left foot inside the right leg, anywhere where it lands. It's comfortable for that knee, hip, low back area. Notice how this feels first of all. So you're a little bit angled with that knee bent. So just noticing how that feels in the low back and not forcing. And then you can take an inhale, lift the arms. And as you exhale, start to lower the hands on either side of the right leg, keeping the spine extended to begin with. Keep the breath flowing, using either the breath as an anchor for your mind, or perhaps if taking that sense of smell, sense of taste, sense of touch, hearing, or sight as an anchor, that can be an option. Or staying with your attention on that third eye intuition, that inner knowing. That can be an option as well. So as we've held this for about a minute or so, you might notice that there's been just a bit of release in any of the muscles, any of the areas of the joints. If that's the case, it might be helpful to stack some props on that right knee so that you can go ahead now and lower that forehead down anywhere where it lands. And then adjust as you settle in, focus back on your anchor. Lengthen inhale. Lift the gaze. Then allowing all of the joints and muscles to have a chance to respond. Lift yourself slowly. Keeping the legs as they are, if that's a fit for you. And adjust as we get into it if you need to. I'm going to keep a prop stacked up here for where we're headed next. You can maybe do that as we move in. I'm going to bring my right hand inside that right leg and use that as some gentle leverage to open my chest towards the left knee. Settle in. And then start to bring the elbow down and in. Side that leg, or keep the hand towards the foot, or maybe bring the hand towards the left knee. So anywhere where it fits best for you. Opening up a little bit more broader towards that left knee. Left hand can stay on the hip, or you can reach it up and over like a rainbow. So you get this in more intentional side stretch on the left side. Breathing on your inhale into all those spaces between the side ribs. We'll just hold this one for 2 more cycles of breath. And then again. And inhale initiates the movement, and you move back up and out slowly. To center. Extend the left leg long. And then windshield wiper the toes side to side, maybe circle the ankles, shift the knees, adjust the shoulders, neck. Eventually, when you're ready, left leg extends long, right knee is bent, let that knee fall open to the right side. Adjust your sits bones so you feel like you're on a firm foundation. Feel the breath. Inhale, and then reach the arms up. And then exhale, side bend, forward fold. Coming over the left leg. Keeping that spine extended again to begin. Letting the fibers, the joints, the ligaments, everything have a few moments to acclimate to the shape. They'll probably happen at different times in each skeleton, but if and when you notice that there's been a little bit of a release, that there's more space to perhaps fold a little bit more, that would be the time to either stack props on top of that left leg so you can eventually lower the forehead down and have it resting so the weight of the head is supported. And then return to your anchor, listening to your inner knowing and adjusting anything in the physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual bodies as you need. Eventually, an inhale allows you to start to float the head back up. Using the hands to move yourself back up. The torso. Then, left hand's going to come inside, left leg. Start to open the chest to the right knee. And so, again, on this side, remembering that it's not always going to be the exact same from side to side. So adapting and allowing the body to direct you rather than forcing the body into a shape, adjusting, adapting the shape to fit the body. Take another inhale. Maybe move that right hand back to the right hip, left elbow perhaps comes down and in. Just moving down and into the shape slowly and with intention. And then keeping that right hand on the hip, or if it's fit for you, inhaling and rainbowing the arm over the ear. Noticing that if you're starting to allow that chest to cave forward towards the floor, that perhaps there's a bit too much forcing into the shape. So then just back up a bit. Notice where you can adjust and give some more openness to the chest, which will then allow that opening between the side ribs on the right side of the body. Two more breaths here. And to release that right arm, coming back up, shifting face forward, extending the right leg long, lengthening both legs, and then reaching the hands back behind you as much as your hands want to. Fingertips can be pointed towards the seat or fingertips out to the side or behind. What works for you. In order to lift the sternum towards the ceiling, lengthening the breath, releasing the exhale. Now this is where, if you have anything that acts as a strap, a necktie, a scarf, anything, you might want to grab that. May or may not end up using it, but I'll offer it as one of the variations. We're going to stay in this that is called staff pose. Bring the hands near the hips. Inhale, lengthen the spine with the sternum towards the chin. The chin parallel to the floor. Crown of the head to the ceiling. And notice the sensation in your low back, your hamstrings. Keeping the knees soft and maybe even a substantial bend in the knees, if that feels better and gives you more space in the low back. And then as you exhale, sliding the hands, walking them forward inch by inch, lowering the chest any amount towards the thighs. And then a strap could be used to just gently move around the arches of the feet, and then not tugging or pulling or forcing. We're wanting to avoid that, but just using it to help support you as you move forward. So you can see there's actually a lot of looseness. I'm not keeping the strap tight or pulling on it. So that can be a variation. Another variation may be to stack props on the thighs to support the chest or the forehead. And then a variation that can really help to keep those knees significantly bent and keep that option available is to start to slide either hands. Can be, if hands aren't comfortable for you, to move a prop or a rolled up yoga mat, extra pillow, or even moving all the way to the forearms. And then whichever variation you're choosing, adjust for yourself and hold your forward fold. Lengthen inhale. Lifts the forehead. And then in whichever variation you're in, adjusting yourself so you can slowly start to lift. I'm going to move into a heart opener, supported fish. If you have a yoga bolster, you will lay that lengthwise on your mat or on the floor. If you don't have that and you have a rolled up extra yoga mat or anything where you can make a nice round firm cylinder, blanket or towel, anything like that, you can roll that way. I'm going to use 2 yoga blocks. So one is going to be the length of my spine, and I will adjust it so that it is my shoulder blades can just kind of fold over the edges of the block. So right in the middle of my upper to middle back. And then I have another one here for the back of my skull so that I don't have an overextension of the cervical spine for this many minutes. So take a moment, get yourself set up with your props. And then as you are ready, you can start with legs extended or knees bent. And then supporting yourself, hands maybe to elbows, adjusting back and down, and then landing. With the head supported. Like I said, those shoulder blades will be kind of just folding over or melting over the edges of your prop. That will expand, open the chest and the heart, the shoulders, and then let the arms and the upper arms fall open up to the ceiling. Now, if whatever you have underneath the back of your skull isn't like just quite right, please feel free to adjust the height of that or the angle or whatever. Take some time coming into it. If you want to keep the knees bent and feet on the floor, you're welcome to do so. Otherwise, extending the legs long, toes open to the sides. Letting the body feel the foundation, ground, supporting it, the heart opening, shining forward. And then the mind back settled on its anchor. Your breath. Your intuition. Any messaging that you can give yourself that supports you and helps you to be and have what you need. And take a lengthened inhale. And then your exhale, this time is what's initiating the movement. So I'm going to gently, carefully support myself as I roll over to one side. And then just reach behind and move those props out of the way. Adjust myself on the back again. Feeling all of the muscles along the back side of the body now, fully supported by the ground. Let them release. Notice how that impacts your sense of touch and the messages that gives to your emotional and mental states. In the right leg extended. We're going to draw that left knee in again, just like how we started, but this time on our backs instead of seated. When you're on your back, this is called fallen tree. So imagining that right leg as the tree trunk, growing from the ground, having yourself rooted and established in a stable, secure foundation. And then all the energy that you're pulling up from that, growing out to your branches, so your arms in any configuration that feels good for you. Over the past weeks, we've talked about adjusting those messages that come in from our sense organs to bring in more joy, building practice of gratitude, increasing our self-compassion, knowing that all of those practices helps our resilience to become stronger, more impactful. And when we are more resilient, when we have more self-compassion, when we approach life with gratitude and joy, we're better able to bring empathy and kindness out into the world to others. So as your branches are growing, you're sending all of those characteristics out into the world, which in turn helps us to build hope for ourselves and actually increases hope for those around us. Very powerful emotion. Take a lengthened inhale. And then you're going to draw your branches, your arms back into you, layering your hands over your heart, drawing all of that joy, gratitude, self-compassion, resilience, empathy, and hope into yourself. Knowing that what you practice on your mat, physically, mentally, emotionally, and energetically, enables you to be more equipped to practice it off your mat. Taking an inhale, slide the right foot to meet the left, and your exhale will allow that right knee to fall over on the left, coming into a supine twist. So adjusting your knees, your legs, your hips, your back, shoulders and arms. You can keep the hands drawn in if that feels comfortable for you, or bring the arms out to a letter T, extending them and over to the right. And breathe here. Inhaling the chin back to center, letting the knees float back up. Adjusting and back to the center and feeling the back of the body supported. This time the left leg's going to lengthen down. Right knee stays bent. Open it up to the side. It's always an option to support the outer thigh or the knee with any amount of props, so that that joint, the hip and knee joints, are supported and not just trying to hold the limb up in space. Stack blocks or pillows underneath that, then those soft tissue ligaments and muscles, tendons are all just able to release a little bit more. The fascial tissue can get just a little bit more lubricated and stretchy. Imagine again bringing that imagery of the left leg now being the tree trunk. Stable, secure, and its foundation on the ground. Drawing up all those nutrients that are able for you to extend and grow out your branches of empathy, and resilience, gratitude and joy. You to have more self-compassion and hope. And inhale. Draw those branches back into you. All of those characteristics that you need to support you physically, mentally, emotionally, and energetically. Bring them back into you. We'll move into the supine twist on this right side. So your right knee stays over to the right side. The left knee is going to draw up and land somewhere over to the right on the right leg. Again, using those props to support the outer thigh of the right leg or to place in between the thighs if that's a support, better for support for your low back and pelvis. And then chin turns to the left, arms are as you are comfortable, and return to your anchor. Your next in. Draw your knees back up to center, chin to center, shift yourself to the middle. We're going to make our way back to seated for one last time through our turtle pose. You can either roll over onto your side, use the arms as leverage, and work your way up, or you can roll straight up the center. Bring the bottoms of the feet together, knees open wide. And then hands on the knees, shins, ankles, wherever they land. Inhale, lengthen the spine, lift the sternum towards the chin, and then as you exhale, start to hinge forward from the hips. So it may be that you're going to want to put props underneath the knees to support them so that the hip joint can better relax. It may be that you want to keep your hands on the ankles or slide the fingers, hands, wrists, or forearms underneath the shins or ankles. So adjusting and adapting as you would like. And another option would be to stack props right inside the feet in order to have a resting space for your forehead. And then bring in again that imagery of a turtle that is drawing its limbs and its head into its shell to withdraw from the stimulations of the external world into itself. And as a turtle does that, we are withdrawing all of the external stimuli that comes into us from our skin, our ears, our eyes, our tongue, and our nose. And instead, again, reacquainting ourselves with our intuition, that inner knowing, allowing the intuition to guide our decisions, our action steps, to guide the stories that we tell ourselves to be more positive. It is more unconventional, but if this feels like a nice and appropriate final resting pose for you today, you're welcome to stay here in turtle pose to continue to practice that sense withdrawal and attaching to your, connecting with your intuition. Another option would be to keep the feet together and roll down on your back. You can come into traditional Shavasana on your back, or any other shape that works for you for your final resting pose. As you make your final adjustments to the physical body to settle in, bring your mind back to the anchor. Lengthen the inhale exhale. Deepening the breath. Gently reawakening the body. Wiggling what needs to be wiggled. Shifting what needs to be shifted. Lengthening or stretching what needs to be stretched. Full body stretch if you like. Keeping your eyes closed if you would like, and then either rolling over to one side to help yourself up, or rolling yourself straight up to seated, whatever works for you. Pausing anywhere along the way to reacclimate with the body. Taking your time to come back to seated if you're not already. Layering one hand over the heart, other hand over that. Remembering in gratitude the ancients in Southeast Asia that discovered the practice of yoga, and that we're willing to share it globally. And then bring to mind anything that brings you joy, gratitude, compassion, resilience, empathy, or hope. Going into the rest of your day with those internal characteristics guiding you. Lower the chin on an exhale. Om Shanti, peace. Thank you so much.